Piper. The pepper plants, or pepper vines, are an economically and ecologically important genus in the family Piperaceae. It contains about 1,000–2,000 species of shrubs, herbs, and lianas, many of which are dominant species in the native habitat. The diversification of this taxon is of interest to understanding the evolution of plants. Pepper plants belong to the magnoliids, which are angiosperms but neither monocots nor eudicots. The family Piperaceae is most closely related to the lizard-tail family, which in fact generally look like smaller, more delicate and amphibious pepper plants. Both families have characteristic tail-shaped inflorescences covered in tiny flowers. A somewhat less close relative is the pipevine family, a well-known and very close relative, being also part of the Piperaceae, are the radiator plants of the genus Pepperamia. The scientific name piper and the common name pepper are derived from the Sanskrit term pipali, denoting the long pepper. Distribution and ecology. Piper species have a pantropical distribution and are most commonly found in the understory of lowland tropical rainforests, but can also occur in clearings and in higher elevation life zones such as cloud forests. One species is subtropical and can tolerate light winter frost. Peppers are often dominant species where they are found. Most piper species are either herbaceous vines, some grow as shrubs, or almost as small trees. A few species, commonly called ant pipers, live in a mutualism with ants. The fruit of the piper plant, called a peppercorn when it is round and pea-sized, as is usual, is distributed in the wild mainly by birds, but small fruit-eating mammals, e.g. bats of the genus Carolia, are also important. Despite the high content of chemicals that are noxious to herbivores, some have evolved the ability to withstand the chemical defenses of pepper plants. For example, the cematurin moth Homediana subpicta of some flea beetles of the genus Lanca. The latter can be significant pests to pepper growers, piper and humans. Many pepper plants make good ornamentals for gardens in subtropical or warmer regions. Pepper vines can be used much as ivy in temperate climates, while other species, like lacquered pepper, grow as sizable, compact and attractive shrubs with tough and shiny leaves. Smaller species, like Celebes pepper with its finely patterned leaves, are also suitable as indoor pot plants. Unsustainable logging of tropical primary forests is threatening a number of peppers. The extent of the effect of such wholesale habitat destruction on the genus is unknown, but it is to be noted that in the forests of Ecuador, the only larger region for which comprehensive data exists, more than a dozen species are known to be on the brink of extinction. On the other hand, other piper species have been widely distributed as a result of human activity and are major invasive species in certain areas. The most significant human use of piper is not for its looks, however, but ultimately for the wide range of powerful secondary compounds found particularly in the fruits. As spice and vegetable culinary use of pepper plants is attested perhaps as early as 9,000 years ago. Peppercorn remains were found among the food refuse left by Herbenian artisans at Spirit Cave, Thailand. It is not too likely that these plants were deliberately grown rather than collected from the wild. Use of peppercorns as pungent spice is significant on an international scale. In classical antiquity, there was a vigorous trade of spices including black pepper from South Asia to Europe already. The Apicius, a recipe collection compiled about 400 AD, mentions pepper as of spice for most main dishes. Judge emerging from the apiaceae in the late Roman Empire. Black pepper was probably still expensive, but nevertheless seems to have been available readily enough to be used more frequently than salt or sugar. As Europe moved into the early Middle Ages, trade routes deteriorated and the use of pepper declined somewhat, but this dearth was hardly ever absolute and altogether rather short-lived. Black peppercorns, storing easily and having a high mass per volume, never ceased to be a profitable trade item. In the Middle Ages, international traders were nicknamed Verfassack in German towns of the Hanseatic League and elsewhere. As the modern era came into full swing, wars were fought by European powers between themselves and in complex alliances and enmities with Indian Ocean states about control of the supply of spices, perhaps the most archetypal being black pepper fruit. Today, black peppercorns of the three preparations are one of the most widely used spices of plant origin worldwide. Due to the wide distribution of piper, the fruit of other species are also important spices, many of them internationally. Mecoxychital was used by the Aztecs to spice up cocoa. Cubeb, also known as tailed or Javan pepper, actually played a major role in early modern era spice trade. Ocet cubeboe, cubeb-flavored vinegar, was a popular condiment in 14th century Poland, but reputedly Philip IV of Spain at the end of the 1630s suppressed trade in cubeb peppercorns to capitalize on his massive share of the black pepper trade. After a brief comeback as a medical plant, cubeb is nowadays fairly obscure in the West. It is however a most significant spice around the Indian Ocean region today, and popular as far as Morocco, where it flavors spicy sweet markout pastry and is sometimes included in the famous Ras El Hanout mix. Further east, it is well loved across Indonesia, where it is the popular pepper to use in gulay. West African pepper, also given a variety of regionalized names like Benin pepper, Ashanti pepper, or the rather ambiguous Guinea pepper, is considered supreme for use in stews and other regional specialties. It is used in addition to black pepper to impart a particularly refined aroma with hints of nutmeg and saffron. Sometimes it is used in the East African Berberi spice mix. This species, despite being traded more extensively in earlier times, is very hard to get outside Africa today. More readily available in the West is long pepper, commonly traded under its Indian name Piperaceae. This is possibly the second most popular piper spice internationally. It has a rather chili-like heat, and the whole inflorescence is used as the fruits are tiny. Not only the seeds of piper are used in cooking. West African pepper leaves, known locally as uziza, are used as flavoring vegetable in Nigerian stews. In Mexican-influenced cooking, Hoya Santa, a Mexican pepper leaf, has a variety of uses, mainly to impart flavor to. In Southeast Asia, leaves of two species of piper have major importance in cooking. Lollet is used to wrap meat for grilling in the Indochina region, while wild betel, often seen under the Thai name char phlu, is used raw or cooked as a vegetable in its own right in Malay and Thai cuisine. It is also used to prepare the famous Myangkam snacks of northwestern Thailand. As medicine and stimulant, cubeb has been used in folk medicine, herbalism and related fields, as well as, particularly in the early 20th century, as a cigarette flavoring. P. darienense is used medically by the Kuna people of the Panama-Colombia border region, and elsewhere it is used to intoxicate fish, which then can be easily caught. Spiked pepper, often called matico, appears to have strong disinfectant and antibiotic properties. Black pepper essential oil is sometimes used in herbalism, and long pepper is similarly employed in Ayurveda, where it was an ingredient of trifalagugula and of tricatu pills, used for rasayana purposes. See also betel leaf carver culture. 2 Piper species have gained large-scale use as a stimulant. Betel leaves are used to wrap betel palm nut slices. Its sap helps release the stimulating effect of these cookies, which are widely known as pan. In India, in the Pacific region, where it has been widely spread as a canoe plant, carver is used to produce a calming drink somewhat similar to alcohol and benzodiazepines, but without many of the negative side effects and less of an addiction risk. It has also become popular elsewhere in recent decades, and is used as a medical plant. However, pills that contain parts of the whole plant have occasionally shown a strong hepatotoxic effect, which has led to the banning of carver in many countries. On the other hand, the traditional preparation of the root as a calming drink appears to pose little, if any, such hazard. In science, the genus contains species suitable for studying natural history, molecular biology, natural products chemistry, community ecology, and evolutionary biology. Piper is a model genus for research in ecology and evolutionary biology. The diversity and ecological importance of the genus makes it an obvious candidate for ecological and evolutionary studies, though not surprisingly, most research has focused on the economically important species P. nigrum, P. methisticum, and P. betel. The obligate and facultative and mutualists found in some Piper species have a strong influence on the biology, making them ideal systems for research on the evolution of symbioses and the effect of mutualisms on biotic communities. Important secondary metabolites found in pepper plants are piperine and chavicin, which were first isolated from black pepper. The piperidine functional group is named after the former, and piperazine was in turn named after piperidine. The significant secondary metabolites of carver are cavalactones and flavonoids. Pipermethystine is suspected to be the main hepatotoxic compound in this plant's stems and leaves. Species. The largest number of Piper species are found in the Americas, with about 300 species from southern Asia. There are smaller groups of species from the South Pacific and Africa. The American, Asian, and South Pacific groups each appear to be monophyletic. The affinity of the African species is unclear. Some species are sometimes segregated into the genera Potomorphi, Macropiper, Ottonia, Arctatonia, Sarcorhachis, Triania piper, and Zipelia, but other sources keep them in Piper. The species called Piper aggregatum and P. fasciculatum are actually Lacystema aggregatum, a plant from the family Lacystemaceae.